Do you get really tired when playing badminton? Do you sometimes even lose because of how exhausted you are? Well, in this video, we're going to share 3 ways to improve your on-court endurance and stamina, so you never lose another match because of this.
Hello, we're Greg and Jenny from Badminton Insight. If you're new here, we're 2 professional players releasing a new video every Sunday on all things badminton. So over the last 2 years, we've had a lot of comments asking for advice on how to improve your endurance and stamina. But firstly, we need to briefly talk about why we need to do this type of training for badminton.
Well, you can burn up to 1,500 calories in a 2-hour session, and that's because the game isn't played like what some people annoyingly think. But what is endurance? Well, endurance is defined as your body's physical capability to sustain exercise for an extended period of time. It's made up of 2 components: cardiovascular endurance, which is the ability of your heart and lungs to fuel your body with oxygen, and muscular endurance, which is the ability of your muscles to work without getting tired.
What we're mainly focusing on in this video is your cardiovascular endurance. However, the 3 training methods will also help develop your muscular endurance. Okay, last bit of science talk. There are 2 principles for improving your endurance. The first is the SAID principle, which stands for specific adaptation to imposed demands. This is where your body will adapt to the exercise you regularly perform, which is why 2 out of these 3 training methods are focused on badminton-specific movements.
The second is the overload principle, which is where you make gradual increases in either volume or intensity to improve your endurance. For example, if you want to improve your 5k run time, you wouldn't just keep running 5ks. You would run further or faster to actually make improvements. And all professional runners do this type of training. So let's start with method number 1, interval training.
Even when we're not on court, we need to do training that is as badminton specific as possible, which is exactly what this is. So for this interval training, you can do it on a stationary bike or by running, either in a sports hall, on a treadmill or outside. Which method you choose is completely up to you and your personal preferences. We typically choose to do a bike as we spend over 5 hours a day jumping up and down on court, so we want to reduce the impact on our knees and feet as much as we possibly can.
So we'll put an example of an interval session on the screen now for you, which you can screenshot and use if you like. It takes around 35 minutes to complete, and as we mentioned earlier, we want to make everything we do specific to badminton. So we've split the session into 4 blocks of 11 points, so it replicates a physical 2-set match. The blocks have varying work and rest times. Again, this replicates a match, as some rallies might only be 4 or 5 shots in length, and you take 10 seconds to recover before the next rally begins, whereas some rallies might be 20 or 30 shots in length, and you take 30 seconds to recover.
Yeah, we'd actually advise you to time some rallies where you're next watching a match and see how long they take. You might be quite surprised. We typically do interval training once or twice a week. No more than this, because whilst this training has lots of benefits, we're not doing any on-court movements here. And as you'll probably know, this is a lot different.
You might sometimes take a break from badminton, but will still do some running or cycling to try and keep fit. But realise that when you're back on court, it's really not the same. So we'd advise trying to focus more on badminton-specific movements in your endurance training if you can, which leads us on to our second method of improving your endurance.
This is on-court training, where you need 1 partner to feed you and just 1 shuttle. Unless it breaks, of course. This is where you do a variety of on-court practices, which we recently did a video on. In this, we shared 10 different practices with demonstrations, so we'll include a link to that in the description below if you want some ideas.
And as we regularly want to improve our endurance and stamina, we typically do this session 1 to 2 times a week, where we'll do one of 2 things. We'll choose 3 or 4 exercises, work for 75 to 90 seconds, and alternate after each set. We'll do this for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute rest, and then do another 25 minutes with a different 3 or 4 exercises.
Other times, we'll choose 3 or 4 exercises and hit 25 shots. But if we make a mistake, we have to go back to 0. If you make a mistake at 24 shots and have to go back to 0, then you're working on both your consistency at crucial times and also your endurance. It's hard to work on your endurance if you're constantly making mistakes, which is why it's so important to have a focus on your quality and consistency.
Our third method of improving your endurance and stamina is multi-feed training. We've included this last as you often need around 600 shuttles, or 300 shuttles if you want to quickly pick them up halfway. And you also need someone who can feed you. Multi-feed training is a great way to get your heart rate up and in the zone to increase your cardiovascular endurance, whilst also doing badminton-specific movements. It's something we do almost every week.
This type of training meets the overload principle, where we're having to move faster than we would in a match, as the shuttle is coming back to you a lot quicker. It's also great because even if you make a mistake, the feeder hits the next shuttle in, so there really is no rest time. And whilst it is great for these reasons, you don't want to overdo this type of training because the shuttle is only coming from one place here, and you don't have to think about playing a shot to get a certain reply. You need to know that you're doing this for your endurance, and be cautious trying to use it to develop your technique or ability to read the game.
So we'll put one of our multi-feed sessions on the screen now for you. again, feel free to screenshot it and use it. As well as being one of the programmes we regularly do, this is actually one of our 16 doubles multi-feed programmes we have available on our website. There's also 11 singles multi-feed programmes too, so if you're interested in checking those out, we'll include a link in the description below. It's really important to note that improvements to your endurance and stamina take time. You can't just do one interval session and then expect to be able to complete an hour-long 3-set match without getting tired at all.
It's also important to mention that we've been doing this type of training for many years as professional players, so we're conditioned to doing it multiple times a week. So if you're not used to this, then we'd advise adding it slowly into your weekly training schedule. We don't want anyone getting injured.
And that's it for this video, a really important topic as badminton definitely requires a lot of endurance and stamina. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like, smash the subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll hopefully see you on another video very soon. Bye!